Hi, hello, and welcome, my Force-sensitive friends, to Holy Star Wars. This is our teaser trailer for a new kind of Star Wars podcast. It's hard to deny that for a lot of us, 2016 was a rough year, whether because of global events, celebrity deaths, or personal tragedy. But rather than letting 2017 go on just the same as last year, a few months ago, I decided to try to do something about it in one of the best ways I know how: overanalyzing Star Wars. Here at Holy Star Wars, we're hoping to bring a little more balance to the Force, bring a little more light side into our lives. Holy Star Wars is a deeper reading of Star Wars than some of us might be used to. It starts with the title, Holy Star Wars. See, it's a play on words. It's both about the sense of eureka we'll find when we discover meanings in the films and other Star Wars texts we never expected to find, and it represents well too, I think, the other half of what we explore here in each show: myths, legends, and sacred texts. What we'll do on Holy Star Wars is, in preparation for every episode, I'll start with a theme or a lens to read the text through, such as hope or rebellion or destiny. Most often, themes we probably already associate with Star Wars, but many times too, I'm sure, ones we hadn't even thought of before. And so, with a theme in mind, I'll start by watching or reading a Star Wars text with that lens on. By the way, you'll notice I'm going to refer to watching films as readings, or the films themselves as texts, just for simplicity or consistency's sake, so when I do, know that that well includes watching the films. Anyway, the podcast will start with the films, of course, and then as we gain traction here, add Star Wars TV and literature and comic books into the mix as well. For now, I'll be mostly sticking to new canon material, but for the first many episodes anyway, it's all about the films. With each reading of Star Wars in the preparation, I'll also be reading a myth, legend, or sacred text at the same time. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Greek mythology, New Testament, Old Testament, myths from other fantasy franchises like the Vulcans from Star Trek, or Tolkien mythology. It's all game on this show, and it's picked per episode based on how it might relate to that week's Star Wars, as well as current events in popular culture, or because you, the listeners, have been asking for it. I've been doing this kind of comparative reading on my own for about 4 months now, and not only do I have a lot of great material I'm super excited to share, but I really believe this type of exercise is a great way for Star Wars fans to explore deeper the lore, characters, and themes of the galaxy we love so much. It's also a creative and engaging way to really discern greater life lessons and calls to action on how to live fuller lives. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody what to think, how to interpret texts, whose thoughts are and aren't worthy. I'm going to ask questions, sometimes tough ones, brought up all in the context of stories we know and love, but that have real implications on the actual lives we live. I'm going to offer possible interpretations of texts, and often completely opposing ones in the same paragraph. When things are my personal opinion, you'll be sure to know, but mostly, I want to give reverence to the text by never adding or taking away from what they actually say, and really stick to exploring the depth of what is really there. Why the comparative readings to myths and legends and such? Why not just stick purely to Star Wars? Well, offhandedly, because I think it's more fun this way, but even more so than that, it's shown that when we read two texts side by side, we're able to begin to see each in a different light than we may otherwise have seen them. From that, we not only might learn more about the text themselves, but by reading them through specific themes or lenses, we can learn something about life hidden between the two texts. I know for a lot of Star Wars fans, mixing Star Wars with non-Star Wars is like church and state, no pun intended, or like mixing water and oil. If that's you, that's fine, and I totally respect that. I do hope, though, that everyone from the ancient historian to the Star Wars fanatic to the casual watcher to the mythical enthusiast gives Holy Star Wars a try. There's definitely something for everyone here, a low barrier of entry, and I truly believe it would only serve to strengthen your love for the films and text themselves, and like I said before, make our lives that much more full. I know it did for me. If this podcast does sound interesting or exciting or different, make sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a good rating, and feel free to leave comments with suggestions for your favorite myths you want to hear about and themes that can be read through. I'm a big fan of a bunch of Star Wars podcasts, and in starting this one up, I'm looking for ways to make ours unique. That's why the last segment of each show is going to involve something I've never seen before in a podcast. The sound of those klaxons, the emergency sirens near the end of each episode, means the final segment of our show is approaching. Holy Star Wars is meant to be more than just a discussion of broad topics and overanalyzed Star Wars. I hope that this show can be a call to action and an inspiration for us to take the themes discussed and the lessons gleaned from the texts and apply them to our lives. At the end of each episode will feature a segment where we take a different storytelling trope, such as the hero's journey, apply the theme of the episode to that trope, and use it to better our own lives and the lives of others. It's also a game. We're calling it Trope Troopers after the famous stormtrooper enemies of Star Wars and the tropes we will be using, and I hope it can be an innovative way to get listeners more involved with what we're trying to do here. Each Trope Trooper segment will host a discussion of how that episode's trope can be applied to that episode's theme and to our lives. Then, on the subsequent episode, before the week's new trope, you hear dramatization of how our Trope Trooper hero fared in incorporating the last week's trope into their life. It'll be like a role-playing-esque drama that incorporates my own journeys through these tropes and themes, as well as yours, the listeners. That's right, I want all of you out there to play along with me by writing in to holystarwars@gmail.com. That's HOLYSTARWARS@gmail.com. Share your stories about how you incorporated each episode's tropes and themes into your own life. The stories you share with us here at Holy Star Wars will be incorporated into our Trope Trooper drama, so include at least a first name or a screen name in your emails so you know we're adapting your story when you listen. Again, that's HOLYSTARWARS@gmail.com. HolyStarWars@gmail.com. We'd also love to hear your suggestions on your favorite myths, legends, holy scriptures, tropes, themes, or anything at all, really, and that email is a great place to send them. We also have a website. It's a bit under construction still, so you'll have to pardon our dust, but it's the best place out there to get all the most up-to-date information on the podcast, read blogged versions of each episode, check out visual versions of our weekly tropes, catch up on the story thus far in Trope Troopers, and is another place to submit your own stories of how you incorporated the tropes and themes into your life. It's under a temporary domain name pending a few things, but for now, it's holystarwars.weebly.com. That's HOLYSTARWARS.WEEBLY.com. Again, that's holystarwars.weebly.com. I hope to see you there. Before wrapping this teaser up, I just want to give you a taste of what Holy Star Wars would be like from our first episode, coming out next Thursday. In it, we explore the theme of hope through Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and the ancient Greek myth of Pandora's Box. Okay, just one more thing. Holy Star Wars is looking for a co-host and a producer. Having some others to bounce ideas off of and to banter with in the show itself will really help improve the quality and quantity of what we can produce here. If you or anybody you know has any experience in Star Wars, text analysis, and or audio production, send us an email to holystarwars@gmail.com, that same email address as before, with some of your credentials and a brief explanation for why you're interested in either of those positions. Again, holystarwars@gmail.com. Definitely looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm totally looking forward to making 2017 a brighter and fuller year with the help of the greatest franchise of all time and hopefully a new community to do it with. And now, here's some of that extra preview I promised. Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan stared out a window aboard a massive, mobile interstellar battle station known as the Death Star. Designed to appear like an innocent moon amongst the star systems, Leia watched as a green beam of energy instantaneously obliterated her home planet. She spent her entire life fighting the oppressive Galactic Empire, in spite of its vast power and resources, and under the constant risk of the harshest punishment imaginable. And when the day came that harshest punishment was dealt, Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan lost everything. She lost her home, her family, her people and their way of life. She lost everything, save the most important of all her possessions: hope.